Have you ever felt like the more you speak, the less you're actually heard? You're explaining your feelings, you're trying to coordinate plans, or you're just trying to share your day, and yet it feels like your words are just falling into a void. It is truly exhausting to feel like you are constantly trying to earn a seat at the table of someone's attention. But what if I told you that the most powerful thing you can say right now is absolutely nothing? Hi everyone, I'm Lena. Today we're diving into a communication concept that most people get completely wrong. It's called selective silence. Now, I'm not talking about the silent treatment. That is a reactive, often hurtful tactic. We are talking about a proactive, high-value boundary that shifts the energy of a relationship from chasing to respecting. By the end of this session, you will understand the neurological reason why silence works, the specific scenarios where you should stop talking immediately, and how to use this to make him or anyone truly value your time and your presence. Before we get into the practical steps, we have to understand the psychology behind this. In economics and psychology, there's a rule called the Scarcity Principle. It dictates that when something is constantly available and overflowing, its perceived value naturally drops. When you over-communicate, when you're the one sending the double texts, the one filling every awkward silence, and the one constantly explaining why you're upset, you are effectively flooding the market with your currency. Think about it. If you're always there, always talking, and always available to fix the vibe, there is zero room for him to miss you. There is no space for him to wonder what you're thinking or what you're up to. There's also a biological element here. When we overtalk out of anxiety, we actually trigger the other person's dismissal response. Their brain begins to mark your communication as background noise rather than a priority. Selective silence, however, creates a pattern interrupt. It forces the other person to move out of autopilot and actually engage with the person standing in front of them. It isn't about playing games. It is about self-regulation. It is about saying that your words have weight, and you will not spend them where they aren't being collected. Let's look at the first major scenario where you need to apply this: the unanswered question. We've all been there. You've asked a clear question or made a clear request, and you get nothing back, or perhaps a vague, non-committal answer that leaves you hanging. Most of us feel an intense urge to help them answer. We think if we provide more options or explain ourselves further, it will make it easier for them. We send that follow-up text saying that it's totally fine if they're busy and that we just need to know because we might make other plans. Stop right there. When you do that, you are taking the responsibility off their shoulders and putting it back on yours. You are signaling that your time isn't actually that important because you're willing to negotiate with yourself on their behalf. The selective silence rule here is simple. Ask once, then let the silence do the heavy lifting. If you asked about plans and he hasn't replied, do not check in. Do not send a funny meme to soften the blow. You stay silent. That silence acts as a mirror. It reflects his lack of effort back to him. If you fill that silence, you are essentially covering up his mistake and making it go away. If you leave it empty, he has to look at it. And that is how he learns that your time is a finite resource. If he doesn't claim it, he loses the privilege of it. The second scenario is even more critical, and that is using silence in the heat of the moment. When things get tense and an argument starts, emotions run high. Maybe he says something dismissive or speaks to you with a lack of respect. Our natural instinct is to defend ourselves. We want to explain why that was hurtful and list all the reasons why we deserve better. But here is the hard truth. You cannot reason with someone who is in a state of emotional reactivity. If you keep talking while someone is being disrespectful, you are essentially rewarding that behavior with your attention. This is where selective silence becomes your superpower. If someone speaks to you in a way that crosses a boundary, you don't need a 20-minute lecture. You need a 0-second response. You simply stop. You look at them, let the air get a little bit heavy, and you might say that you are going to give the situation some space because you don't communicate in that tone. And then you must stop talking. You don't follow them into the next room. You don't send a long paragraph 10 minutes later. You reclaim your peace. When you remove your presence the moment respect is removed, you teach people exactly how to value you. Silence in this context isn't giving up. It is holding your ground with immense dignity. Beyond conflict, there's the beauty of silence in your daily life, the mystery of your inner world. One of the most attractive qualities a person can have is a sense of an independent inner life. Early in relationships, or even years into a long-term commitment, we often feel the need to narrate our entire lives. We share every thought, every minor inconvenience at work, and every detail of our day. While intimacy is beautiful, oversharing can actually be the enemy of intrigue. Selective silence in your daily life means you don't always have to be an open book. If he asks how your day was, and you usually give a 15-minute play-by-play, try giving a concise, positive answer instead. You might say, it was really productive and you're feeling good about it. Then ask about his day. Notice the gap that creates. It invites him to ask more. It makes him lean in. When you use silence to protect the edges of your life, you remind him that he doesn't own every thought in your head. You are an independent, complex individual, and that mystery is what keeps the spark alive. It makes him value the moments when you do choose to share deeply, because those moments feel earned rather than expected. I want to introduce you to a specific tool I call the golden pause. This is a game changer for your perceived confidence and value. The next time someone asks you a question, whether it's a date, your partner, or even someone at work, do not answer immediately. Wait for 3 full seconds. Most people are so afraid of silence that they blurt out the first thing that comes to mind just to stop the awkwardness. By holding that 3-second pause, you signal 3 very important things. First, that you are not reactive. Second, that you are thoughtful. And third, that you are perfectly comfortable in your own skin. It makes your eventual answer carry 10 times the weight it would have otherwise. It changes the dynamic from you trying to please them to them waiting for your insight. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Won't this make me seem cold or distant? The answer is no, not if it's done with the right intent. There is a massive difference between the cold silence of punishment and the warm silence of self-respect. Cold silence is meant to hurt. Selective silence is meant to protect. It's about being intentional with your energy. It's about recognizing that your voice is a gift and your time is a treasure. When you stop giving those things away for free to those who aren't paying attention, the right people will start paying a lot more attention. This isn't about creating a wall. It's about creating a gate. And you are the one who decides when it opens. As you begin to implement this, you might feel a bit of internal resistance. We are socially conditioned, especially as women, to be the peacekeepers and the communicators. We feel like if there is a silence, it is our job to fix it. I want to challenge you to sit in that discomfort. The next time there is a lull in the conversation, don't rush to fill it. Just breathe and stay present. Observe what the other person does. Often, you will find that when you stop doing all the heavy lifting, the other person finally finds the strength to pick up their end of the conversation. You are giving them the opportunity to show up for you. Remember, the goal of selective silence is to bring balance back to your relationships. It allows you to step back from the role of the constant pursuer and move into the role of the person who is worth pursuing. It builds a foundation of mutual respect where words are valued because they aren't wasted. If you found value in this perspective today, please consider how you can apply just one of these silences this week. Whether it's waiting those 3 seconds before answering a text or choosing not to explain yourself during a minor disagreement, notice how the energy shifts. You have so much power in your quietness. Thank you for spending your time with me today. I'm Lena, and I look forward to seeing you in our next session as we continue to build a life of confidence and respect.